We live in a time when our leaders and our culture lack clarity. In a place of truth, the public discourse is concerned more with perception and narrative. In place of objectivity, we have come to accept the position that reality is ultimately unknowable, and thus it is the whim of popular opinion or the desires of the many. These views are nothing new. In fact, as the book of Ecclesiastes teaches, and as we see throughout history, there is nothing new under the sun. These ideas have been tried before, and they've always been found wanting. We may have rockets that are able to launch us into outer space. We may be able to peer into the microscopic depths of our biology, but I will tell you this, a love song in 2021 is the same as a love song of old. There's something about the human condition that doesn't matter how much technology changed, there's truths about the human person, the human condition that remain unaltered. Some things change, but what it means to be human never changes. The most fundamental truth that is accessible to every age and every person, regardless of religion or culture, is that human life is sacred and that it ought to be protected above all else. Can we speak of any culture that does not gaze with wonder at the profound beauty of the pregnant woman? It has been the subject of countless art, sculptures, literature. And even in our time, we rightly congratulate and share the joy of a woman who is bringing forth new life through pregnancy. How can we in one moment be filled with such joy and then in the next moment say it is acceptable to treat a child in the womb like a fingernail that can be clipped away when it is inconvenient? I can tell you the reason born from my experience of working with many women who have had abortions. And the reality is that they are often overwhelmed. They have fear and confusion. They're uncertain about the future. They're uncertain about how they'll provide for the child. And what they're looking for is solutions that seem to involve less suffering. A person in such a situation is desperate and is in need of our support. It is like a man who believes that all hope is lost, and he reaches out to his brothers and sisters for help, and instead they hand him a gun and say, "It is easier for you to just end your life." How much better to say, "I am with you. We can work through this together. You are not alone." Wherever people are involved, quick solutions are often the worst. Often, truth in accompanying somebody requires a long process of being with them and sharing their suffering. In this context, a child is not simply a part of a woman, or even simply someone that she tolerates. Her child, in a general sense, is like another self, very heart, that she loves as much as she loves herself, perhaps in some situations more. A child in the womb is not simply another part of a woman's body. It is far more. Or perhaps we can say it is like her body, but not a fingernail or her hair, but her lungs, her eyes, her very heart. So perhaps in a certain sense, we can say abortion does destroy the body, hold dear above all else. The parts that if she destroyed, she would lose something of her very self. In this regard, a woman who has abortion, it's akin to ripping out her heart, and she loses more than she could ever gain. I speak poetically to arrive at a simple point that must be said over and over again. Abortion must be illegal. Abortion is grave matter, which means that with full knowledge and full consent, it is a mortal sin. Having an abortion, helping someone have an abortion, or supporting laws or practices that promote abortion are mortal sins. And like all mortal sins, they can always be forgiven in confession with repentance and sorrow. But we have to name it for what it is. This means that if you support abortion and you're not repenting and you're not confessing it, you are not in a state of grace and you are in danger of going to hell. Brothers and sisters, this is profoundly serious. The church is clear because this is serious. And those who teach otherwise are wolves in sheep's clothing. This is a hard thing for some people to hear, but the reality is the Texas Heart Bill was a huge victory precisely because it has led us down a path of eliminating abortion from our society. This is one of the fundamental goals of the Catholic Church in the public square because of the truth of the human person. Likewise, it has shown a path forward for the pro-life movement. It has revealed that on a local level, we can have a huge impact on our society by promoting anti-abortion legislation on a local and state level. But So 1,000 people in Greenville might not be able to have a huge impact on a presidential election, but we can have a huge impact on local and state politics. I believe this is a defining moment for our community and for our diocese. The stakes are high because what is at stake is our immortal soul. When this age draws to a close and we stand before the judgment seat of Christ and all is at last made manifest, what will be the truth of our lives? When Christ asks us what we did for the least of our brothers and sisters, he will hold us accountable for this moment. He will ask, did you stand up for the poor and forgotten? Did you speak up in the face of evil and destruction? Did you defend the unborn and the desperate woman? Brothers and sisters, woe to me if I don't speak the truth, and woe to all of us if we do not stand up for what is right. This is our moment to take a stand and rid our country of the evil that is abortion.